General education bus versus a special education bus. What is the difference? From the outside, most school buses look pretty similar, but on the inside, the setup can be very different depending on the students being transported. And one of the biggest differences you'll see in school transportation is between a general education bus and a special education bus. In this video, I want to show you and walk you through both setups and explain what makes them different, why those differences matter, and what parents and even new transportation staff may not always realize how much planning goes into getting students to school safely. Now, before I begin, I want to be clear about something. This video is not about comparing one group of students to another. It's about understanding how transportation is designed to meet student needs safely, respectfully, and effectively. Every student deserves a safe ride to school, and the bus setup reflects the support that may be needed along the way. Let's start with general education bus. This is the school bus setup that most people are familiar with. It typically has rows of bench seats, a central aisle, emergency exits, and a layout designed to carry a larger number of students efficiently. On a general education bus, the focus is usually on moving a higher volume of students safely and on time. Seating is fairly standard. Students board, find their seats, follow the driver's directions, and the route continues from stop to stop. From the driver's perspective, there's still a lot of happening on a general education bus. The driver is watching mirrors, monitoring student behavior, checking traffic, keeping track of stops, and making sure the aisle stays clear and students remain seated. Even though the bus setup may look simple, the responsibility is not simple at all. A general education bus is built around structure, visibility, and efficiency. It allows the driver to maintain a safe environment while transporting a larger group of students in a consistent routine. Now let's talk about my favorite, special education. This is where many people outside transportation notice that the bus may look different on the inside, depending on the students assigned to that route. A special education bus may include equipment or seating arrangements that support mobility, medical, behavioral, or developmental needs. For example, some special education buses may have fewer seats, some may have a wheelchair lift. Some may have securement stations for wheelchairs, some may have specialized seats, harnesses, or other approved safety equipment based on a student's transportation plan and needs. You may also see more open space inside the bus because the layout isn't always about fitting the highest number of riders. Sometimes it's about making room for equipment, allowing safe movement, or making sure students can be transported in the safest possible way based on their individual needs. Another difference is that some special education routes may have a transportation attendant on board in addition to the driver. That's because in certain situations, students may require closer support during loading, unloading, or while riding the bus. The attendant's role is not to replace the driver, it's to support student safety and help manage the ride appropriately while the driver focuses on driving. So, why does the setup between general education and special education change so much? The answer is simple because the needs of the students can be different. A general education bus is usually designed for a larger group of students who can board, sit, and exit using the standard bus layout. A special education bus may need to accommodate students who use wheelchairs, require assigned seating, need additional supervision, or need extra time and support during transportation. That changes everything from the seating arrangement to the amount of space on the bus to the loading and unloading process. And this is where I think a lot of people misunderstand school transportation. They may see a special education bus take longer at a stop, or they may notice a route seems slower and they assume something is wrong. In reality, there may be a very specific safety process happening. For example, loading a wheelchair safely is not the same as a student simply stepping onto the bus and taking a seat. There may be a lift involved, there may be securement procedures, there may be checks to make sure the chair is locked in properly and the student is safely positioned before the bus moves. That takes time, and it should take time because it has to be done correctly. The same goes for unloading. The goal is not speed, the goal is safe, respectful transportation. Why special education transportation can take longer. This is one of the most important things I want parents and viewers to understand. Special education transportation may take longer for reasons that have nothing to do with poor planning and everything to do with doing the job safely. A route may take longer because students need individualized loading support. It may take longer because equipment has to be used correctly. It may take longer because the driver and attendant need to make sure every student is secure before moving. It may take longer because a student may need a calm, predictable boarding routine or a specific seating arrangement. In other words, the extra time isn't wasted time, it's safety time. And that matters because from the outside, people often only see a yellow bus stopping and going. They don't see the procedures happening inside the bus. They don't see the planning behind who sits where, what equipment is required, what support a student needs, and how the team makes sure that ride happens safely every single day. Now, whether it's a general education bus or a special education bus, the driver still carries a huge responsibility. On a general education bus, the driver is managing a larger group, maintaining order, checking mirrors, navigating traffic, and keeping the route moving safely. On a special education bus, the driver may be working closely with an attendant, following specific transportation instructions, allowing extra time for securement procedures, and adapting to a wider range of student needs while still maintaining full focus on safety. Different setup, same responsibility. The mission is still the same: get students to and from school safely. And that's what I think people miss sometimes. Transportation isn't just about driving a bus from point A to point B, it's about managing safety, behavior, communication, timing, equipment, and student support all at once. The bus may look different on the inside, but the purpose stays the same. If you are a parent watching this, here's what I want you to know. If your child rides a general education bus, there is still a lot of structure and safety behind that ride, even if it looks routine from the outside. If your child rides a special education bus, the setup you see is there for a reason. The equipment, seating arrangements, extra procedures, and sometimes the extra time involved are all part of making sure transportation is safe and appropriate for the students on that route. And if you ever wonder why one bus looks different from another, or why one route seems to take longer than another, the answer is usually not random. It's usually because school transportation is being adapted to meet the needs of the students being served. To summarize, at the end of the day, both buses serve the same purpose: safe student transportation. One may be set up for a larger group of students in a more standard layout, the other may be set up with specialized equipment, more space, or additional support based on student needs. But neither is more important than the other. They're simply built around the students who ride them. And that's really what school transportation should be about. Not just moving buses, but supporting students safely, respectfully, and responsibly. If you work in school transportation, or if you're a parent who's ever had questions about how school buses are set up, drop your thoughts and comments. I would love to hear what questions you have.